All right. Fun times. We're going to get into this interview. We'll play that out. When the interview's done, we'll see you next week after that. We had a blast for this. Everybody in the chat, join us. Check us out, SpanishAnnounceTable.net. But these guys coming up, the Dynamic Wrestling Federation. If you're in the Kansas City area or you're anywhere near, you're going to have to check out this event coming up on September 25th. All Out War at the Camelot Ballroom in Overland Park.
All Out War.
8-man tournament to crown
their first ever champ.
Oh, man. And some of the names announced already are super fun, especially for some of us local folks who've been here before in the old NWL days, the Metro Pro days, Central States days even.
Well, and if you've been paying attention to AEW Dark, you might recognize some names from watching AEW Dark that's going to be in this tournament as well. So got some good names here.
We're super excited about this. We tried to do this a couple weeks ago. We were having some technical difficulties. Go figure.
Shocker.
Who the fuck would have guessed that on the Spanish Announce Table we're having technical difficulties? So we said, hey, listen, man, we don't want to keep putting you through this. We will come to you. We came down to their tattoo shop. By the way, also they have a tattoo shop. How fucking cool is that?
Oh, they're so cool.
I've never done anything as cool in my life as having a tattoo shop, right? There's nothing like, I feel like I'm a cool guy, and you'd say I'm a cool guy, but like I haven't done something like on the like societal scale of cool as like open up a tattoo shop. So these guys are super cool. They invited us in. You'll see their hospitality was off the charts. I feel ashamed that like I didn't even come with like a fourth of their hospitality. They're the most amazing dudes. I'm excited for this interview to play for everybody. You got any final words, Tom? Because we're gonna.
I had a blast. This was a great time. We kind of spiral into just having wrestling fandom talk, which was always a highlight for me. So,
and for any non-long-term listeners, and for the long-term listeners, we do Cinco Preguntas with these folks, where we ask every new guest the same 5 questions about pro wrestling, like history and where they're at in their headspace with their pro wrestling fandom. You're gonna love that. So even if you're not like, what do I care about a pro wrestling federation in Kansas City? If you're in Philadelphia or whatever, watch this interview for that, because we get into some fun nostalgia stuff, all kinds of fun stuff, and I don't know.
Here we go.
Man. Yeah. We're going to get, while this interview plays, Tom and I are going to work on booking this Frankie Krozarian storyline. So have fun watching this interview.
Claws up.
Ooh, Tom, this is fun. We haven't done an on-site interview in years. I mean, coronavirus, of course, but...
Yeah, this feels good to actually see some people in person and not just you.
Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah. Yeah, I can be abrasive, gentlemen. So, like, he likes to see people other than me once in a while, but we only let him out of the house once in a while. We are from Kansas City. Our long-term listeners know that, and we love Kansas City, and we also love wrestling. So naturally, it would stand, we love Kansas City wrestling, right? And that had waned off over the decades. And then it kind of came back and it waned off again. But I'm telling you, Tom, much like the MJF coin from last week.
To the moon!
So we're back up to the moon with a brand new pro wrestling federation starting, the Dynamic Wrestling Federation. And they're starting up in September on the 25th, the Camelot Ballroom in Overland Park, with an 8-man tournament to crown their first ever champion. And some of the names already announced. And from what we hear, what's coming down the pike is going to be amazing. And we're just here to talk to the owners, CEOs. We have Trinity, and we have Logan Diamond, correct? Right? See? I'm a professional.
There it is.
I'm a professional, Tom. We took notes. And we're just here to talk about the pro wrestling thing. They also own Classic Tattoo here in Overland Park. So they're entrepreneurs. They know what they're doing. And, man, I tell you what, I'm excited to be here and talk to you guys. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, man. We appreciate you guys coming out. This is going to be fun.
So let's get started with this first one-night tournament. It's an eight-man tournament. It's called All Out War. So I'm going to be going to this show. What can I expect from this first show from DWF?
I'll let you take this one. Go for it.
Expect your money's worth. Expect to love wrestling again, man. Expect to be a little kid watching, Saturday night's main event. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And just emotionally involved in the storylines. Things make sense. We've got a lot of cool surprises coming up, and it's going to be something really cool. We're doing an all ages family friendly show. We're going to get the kids involved again. I want the same kids that are coming from Monday Night Raw to come out to our show and then just beg their parents to come back because they're so invested in the characters and the storylines. We're not reinventing the wheel here, man. This is Force Awakens for Star Wars nerds. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's basically what we're going after.
Yeah, we just want the kids in, old guys like us that grew up loving a certain style of wrestling. We want, us and, them to bring their family and have their kids fall in love. Because then, I was lucky enough where my daughter got into wrestling about, 9 years old. And it was a special thing between me and my daughter. You know what I mean? We'd always watch Raw. You know, we'd watch SmackDown. Yep. We'd go to Raw, Raw Live, SmackDown. We went to WrestleMania 33 when it was in Dallas. Yep. We went to the Royal Rumble when it was in Philly when Asuka won. We went to the first Money in the Bank Women's in St. Louis when it was here. So, I mean, we have a lot of amazing memories as me and my daughter. That was our thing. And we want to build that in Kansas City for other families who might not be able to afford Raw every ticket and or the WrestleMania price. But this is something where you're up close, you're personal, you get to see the action, you get to smack your favorite wrestler's hand and have a blast doing it.
So what then? You're sitting here, we're in the middle of a global pandemic and there's no wrestling. What makes you think like I can bring wrestling back? Like walk us through how does that decision, was it a light bulb moment, or have you been like sitting on this for years? Or
well, this is something me and Trinity have been having this dream for about 5 years now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And we just never knew how to do it. And luckily, through when the NWO was running, my tattoo shop that I had at a different time was a sponsor. Oh yeah. And Trinity was able to win front row tickets for a year from an up-down tournament that they had. Mm-hmm. And
we were at some of those.
Yeah.
Actually, you guys were actually announcing the tournament.
That's right. Yeah. Okay, I do remember that now. Yes.
Yeah. By the way, WWF No Mercy, Nintendo 64, Kansas City Champion, 7 tournaments.
Is this guy right here?
Oh, wow.
When the tournament ended, I won the last tournament. So that
he's won it 7 times. Nice. He's undefeatable. He's he's the Undertaker of the.
He's the Andre the Giant of the N64.
Well, I've been defeated before. I got my foes, but I ended up taking the last tournament we had. So
that's cool. Those were fun events.
They were a lot of fun. Yeah. So luckily through wrestlers started getting tattooed at my studio, and especially we're going to give a shout out to Strider right now, Michael Strider. Yeah, he's been the Obi-Wan for us. Love you, buddy. Thank you for all the hard work you've been doing. But
this couldn't be possible without you.
Without Strider, man, we would have never known how to do this.
Yeah.
So
we are fans.
Yes.
Oh, of course.
And so he was getting tattooed one day, and we were just kind of like, how does it work? What's the inner workings? I mean, he's here for an all-day session, and we'll talk wrestling 9 hours. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so he's like, it's really not that hard to do a show. So I was like, well, hey, man, if you're free one night, let's all get together, go have a beer, and let's talk. And by the end of the meeting, I was like, we can do this.
Right?
Yeah, I was like, all right, man. I was like, this is not without reach. We can make this happen.
Right. Yeah.
And so then, like I said, he's the captain. He steered us in the right way. He knew the talent. He has hooked us up tremendously. Yep. And thank you to everybody else. Joe McDonald, who has been doing Joe McDonald. He's been doing our website and all of our graphics.
All our promos and graphics.
And
all the promos.
Joe, man, thank you so much. Anybody needs internet stuff and website, talk to Joe.
Yeah.
He's phenomenal.
He's awesome.
Dart, big shout out to Dart for creating our logo. Thank you, my man.
An artist that works here at the studio. Yep. So
yeah, Michael Strider. Well, actually, we've had both Joe McDonald and Michael Strider on the show. Michael Strider was our first guest, so I can only assume he was there getting a Spanish announce table tattoo at the time. So you don't have to confirm that. I understand there's legalities and stuff, but we're just gonna take that.
You just have to look at his arm. Maybe it's all hidden in there somewhere.
Right.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So. Yeah. Right. It was covering up a name that maybe he didn't want to have. You know what I mean? Let's not get into that.
Exactly.
So with DWF, as we mentioned, this is a first show where it's going to be a one-night tournament. A champion will be crowned. So after this first show, is there a plan to do every other month? Every month? What's
every other month.
Every other month.
We've actually got our year up until basically All Out War. Our first event is going to be our WrestleMania next year.
Nice.
And that's September. So we have our year planned out. Yep. So, we already have our second and third show mostly booked already, and it's going to be at the Camelot Ballroom. They've worked out a great deal with us. We want consistency. Mm-hmm. Plus, I will say for adults, there is food to be bought. There's concessions. You want a few beers, have some beers. You know what I mean? Yeah. We're not trying to take the stiffness into wrestling.
It's not Disney wrestling.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Well, we still want people having beer, and having a great time, but we just take out the vulgarity and the violence that a lot of wrestling promotions seem to thrive on. That we're not wanting to do.
Sure. Right.
So we have our year planned out. So
So what is it like then working with talent to do that? Say, hey, I've got this new show. It's going to be a tournament to name the champ. Like, do you have to convince people, or are they eager?
Strider did all that, man. We didn't have to do it. Nice. Within 4 days after we decided our date and we found our place, dude, he was like booked.
For for the second and third show, like we reached out to some people that were scouting on our own. I don't want to say anything yet, but
we've got some talent from other regions coming around.
But people are super receptive. They're super cool. They're super mellow and chill and very humble for the most part. I love it. I love hearing about this.
So then what, I mean, we kind of mentioned it. You say you're not reinventing the wheel. You're going back to, some other things, but like, can we expand on that a little bit? Like what is maybe missing now that we see? I think how Tom and I know how we would answer this. What's on the indie scene now that maybe turns old school wrestling fans off that you hope to bring?
It's the stories, man. It's those great, Romeo and Juliet stories, those, the gladiator stories, the mythology of wrestling, you know what I mean? The kayfabe, we want to bring kayfabe back, you know what I mean? Nowadays, it's like me and Trinity were talking about this. We don't want somebody who just wants to get into wrestling to be the next, movie star. Right. Be a wrestler. Right. We want you to have a gimmick. We want you to live that gimmick, you know what I mean? The Iron Sheik is the Iron Sheik.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Macho Man was always Macho Man.
That's true.
And that's cool that, if you want to be a movie star, great. Move to Hollywood, man. We want wrestlers.
Yeah.
We want people that, growing up, you love, like, man, you connect with them. You want to see them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what wrestling has been killing the last few years. Any amazing talent that the fans are connecting with, they do something different with, or they run them away, or they fire them, or it's like, listen to your fans, man. When when certain wrestlers are getting pops and just and you do nothing with them, you know what I mean? We want to have just not one-on-one matches where we want to have where you want to come back to our next show because you want to know what's going to happen for the next part of the story.
I like that. Big fan.
Mm-hmm. So describe to us the creative process then. You talked about how Strider's already kind of working with the talent, but is this just writing on a piece of paper, okay, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to do, or like, describe your creative process for
in order to describe that, I'd have to go back about 5 years.
Okay.
Nintendo 64, No Mercy. Mm-hmm. Just like a lot of video game nerds, and then, by the way, I think that's the best wrestling game ever.
Best wrestling game ever.
It just sucks that it erases out of nowhere. But anyways.
We've all had that nightmare.
By the way, I do have the $300 fixed copy that you could send them, and they would send it back. Anyways.
Wow.
So we would play wrestling, and when we worked at the tattoo studio, and it'd be slow, and after a while, we'd start creating the old guys, and doing that, and then all of a sudden we started creating our own wrestlers, and then we started literally just making our own wrestling world. We came up with the Dynamic Wrestling Federation. We're like, let's make up 5 or 6 guys, tag team, stuff like that, and write their backstories as original characters. And we started from there. And we've literally created our own wrestling world from just playing video games. We went nuts on it, dude. We brought like a $1,200 belt, like what he did. Got a $1,200 belt for our wrestling thing. And we recruited more guys, and it just ended up evolving. We still do that to this day.
We get together once a month, and we continue our stories from the last time we played. We continue that, you know what I mean? And we have logs of all of our champions, like who beat who, how long, how fast, what finisher. You know what I mean? Like we love the stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's the beauty of pro wrestling, though, is it's a story come to life, right? Yes. That you're not getting elsewhere.
Exactly. Right? Well, and the thing is, there's no one else that I've watched, WWE, AWE, or AEW, or even the Indies. I mean, that's good for whatever they're doing. It's just not what I want. You know what I mean? You'll have one snippet of, man, I really like what they're doing with this guy, but then they either, put him in a different direction, or they just switch up the story, or, you know what I mean? So consistency is the word we're looking for, to where, you know what I mean? Like, you're going to know that if we start a storyline, it might be a year before that storyline comes to a halt. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. And we're going to make it worth your while to want to watch it.
Right. And I think that's the big boys in this field might say, like, they discuss the term episodic, but they seem to have lost that episodicness, if that's a word. I'm going to crown that a word. Right. Where it's week over week. Can't miss, because it's not going to be the same thing. There's going to be a storyline advancement. So I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah. So describe a little bit of what you think your signature, obviously we haven't done the first show. Yeah. And like you said, listen to the fans, kind of have some stories thought out, but then obviously adapt for whatever you hear from the fans. But as far as like a signature of what you think going into this promotion will be, is it going to be focused more tag team wrestling? You had back in the day, TNA was the X division. Right. Do you have a vision of maybe like what our signature is going to be?
No, we want to have a nice, tag team wrestling is mine. Yeah. I love tag team wrestling.
Our second episode will have
some tag teams.
Gotcha.
Well, our first one's going to be an 8-man tournament, and then we're all going to have a women's match to usher in our women's roster.
Yeah. Right.
Yep.
And then after that, we're going to focus on tag teams. We're going to start bringing in all the elements, slowly, but we got to start.
Of course.
And and that's the thing too. We also, want people to know that women's wrestling is important to us too. You know what I mean? We want the girls that come with their moms and dads to say, "Hey, I can do this too."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be just the boys' club. You know what I mean?
Right.
It can be where a little girl's like, "Man, I got to see this local wrestler, and she gave me a high five, and I want to be a wrestler when I grow up." You know what I mean? So
yeah. Well, and I know we've already got, some names announced, so you may have to clue me in if I've forgotten somebody. I know we had Gil Rogers was out there.
Gil, yep.
Moonshine Mantel right, is one of us I'm excited for.
Well, tell us, because again, I don't want to maybe make announcements that haven't been made. So who's a part of it so far that we know?
Gil, we got Moonshine. We have the Roscoe Leach from the he's going to be a manager.
Yep, Roscoe
managers.
We're still waiting. We put our application in several years ago to join the Leach Talent Agency, and he keeps saying he's going to call. Roscoe, we're waiting. We put forth a great, percentage for you. We're hoping to hear back with the counter offer at the very least.
You got to send him a VHS tape.
That's what it is.
We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there.
There's an indie guy, Daniel Maccabi, which I'm not familiar with, but have been watching, or wasn't familiar with until I started watching his matches on YouTube.
Right?
Very technical. Reminds me of an old school Bret Hart.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Like him.
Miranda Gordy.
Yeah, Miranda Gordy's going to take on Marty Bell.
Yeah.
I guess. Oh, that should be good.
Absolutely.
Oh, you got Marty Bell?
Yeah.
And Miranda Gordy is
Party.
and Miranda Gordy is Bam Bam Gordy's sister, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that should be
That's going to be a fun one.
So I think that's pretty much the only ones that are.
I feel like we're forgetting one.
No, I think those are the only ones that are announced.
Oh,
right now.
Planquet.
Oh, Planquet, of course.
Niles
Yeah.
Planquet.
Absolutely.
The connoisseur.
The finest, most sophisticated wrestler you'll find in the area for sure. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're excited about that one, man. I'm getting excited. For
Again,
this tournament.
great character.
Yeah.
Niles Planquet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good.
And I will say, people need to check out our Facebook page every week because we're dropping new vignettes.
Yep.
But just know, let the people know. Promos, sorry. We do have a big surprise coming for Kansas City. We're going to have a Hall of Famer that's going to be in Kansas City doing a meet and greet. So once...
Hey,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
I mean, we're talking a good name that everybody knows, and I'm one of my childhood favorites, so I can't wait to meet him. But once I'm able to drop his name in his promo, just know Kansas City, something big is coming for you.
I'm excited to see what that is.
Well, let's just get right into it because we're talking about the old school wrestling.
Yeah.
Let's get some more into what you guys like. So let's do Cinco per Gusta.
Let's do it. Yeah. So we ask every guest that we've had on, every time they're first on, we ask the same set of 5 questions. So we get kind of a feel for it. Now, most of these are softball, so you're not going to think anything great. So the first one is, who's your favorite wrestler of all time? And you both can answer.
Okay, are we doing tag or are we just doing it?
Whatever comes to mind. You can name 3, 4. Nobody
So
knows.
we don't have like rigid rules.
Okay.
We're not going to say you can only name one. So if you want to say,
let me just say, whenever I'm asked questions about wrestling, I answer them as 8-year-old me watching wrestling.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead, man.
I'm gonna have to go with the legend, the man Hogan.
Oh, yeah.
10 years old, loved wrestling. My mom took me to wrestling for my first time, and I got to meet Hogan when I was 10.
He's what got me into wrestling.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
Hogan's will always be. Without Hogan, there would be no wrestling.
Of course, yeah.
So Hogan,
not the way it is today.
Yeah,
for sure.
Hogan will always be my number one. Then I'm gonna have to say Rowdy Piper.
Yeah, God, good choice.
As much as I like good guys, I love a good heel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He was one of the best.
Oh yeah. Macho Man.
Mm-hmm.
Jake the Snake.
Yeah.
Man, 5th one's gonna be hard. 5th one.
Is it 5 questions or 5 wrestlers?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was 5 wrestlers.
It's 5 questions.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I mean, you can name 5.
People have answered.
Okay.
People have answered.
And then I have to say, but I mean, I'm saying for me because tag team wrestling is what I like the
yeah.
most. Demolition, man.
Yeah,
Give me Demolition.
Yeah. They're great.
Demolition.
Yeah, I was a big Demolition mark when I was a kid too. All right, so who's your favorite wrestler of all time, Mr. 8-year-old?
So I realize that this is not Ultimate Warrior. When I was a kid, man, I was a Hulk Hogan fan. And then Warrior came on the scene, and I was same thing. I was a Demolition fan. Then Road Warriors, Legion of Doom came on the scene, and then I became Legion of Doom fans.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, man, I didn't care about technical matches.
Course, right.
I loved the intensity, and he was throwing dudes up in the air, and it was awesome.
Look, it's not to discount how over he got. Saying all of his flaws and whatever he did wrong or whatever not. But he was a superstar.
Yeah. Well, but that's the thing that, I think pro wrestling fans need to realize is you could have whatever backstage, whatever his real name is, right?
Yep, right.
That's one person. But then Ultimate Warrior was a bigger than life character.
Yeah, right.
His matches were, 5-minute.
James was an asshole.
Yeah.
The Ultimate Warrior was a great
This guy- right. So that's one thing is when you can say, Hulk Hogan is your favorite all the time, then you go, well, how about him? It's no. That's Terry, right?
Yeah.
Terry's doing
Exactly.
this.
Yeah.
I love when Hulk Hogan's ripping his shirt off and
The
telling me
hulking out and the coming back. And, that's
And
the thing,
Ultimate Warrior was pure intensity. How could you hate that as a kid? Like I mean, I loved it too. He's busting in the ring, blowing the shit out of people, shaking them ropes. I mean, you got
Every time that music hit, I was up off the couch.
Boom, yeah.
I mean, up off the couch.
And that's what we're coming at is like the kayfabe part of it, where it's like, and unfortunately, with internet and Twitter and everything, you're never going to be able to hide everything.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: come to our show and just want to have a good time. You know what I mean? Yeah. Don't worry about their personal lives and whatnot. Get invested in the story and the characters. You know what I mean?
and going back to that kayfabe idea is you can, what we call on the show, pro wrestling hate someone, right? So where if a heel walks out, you can say, boo, I hope you lose. I hope, someone pantses you, all of the stuff. But then when that guy goes to his car after the show, we're leaving him alone. He's walking to his car. I'm walking to my car.
I don't remember he was a manager for NWL, and when we would go, we'd always sit next to each other. We ripped this guy every time he came out so bad. Just where
Jovi.
where
he was awesome.
When he'd see us at shows, he didn't even come near us. You know what I mean? Because he was just a swarmy character, and we weren't throwing stuff at him. We were like, "You suck." You know what I mean?
We would not let up on that.
Yeah, I mean, his haircut, his clothes, his glasses. We ripped him, and finally, I think at one time he was just like, "Come on, guys," you know what I mean? But that's the fun part of wrestling.
Yeah. And I remember from the NWL days too, with where things just come out organically, like Dak Draper wearing white trunks, and that turns into tidy whities and people bringing underwear to the crowd. Somebody brought the biggest pair of underwear I've ever seen in my life.
Yes, I remember that.
It looked like a sale, right? I don't think you get that in those larger
exactly
where you don't have a tie.
This is
to what's going on.
You're gonna have a personal connection with Kansas City. Citizens, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
All right, so let's get back into the Cinco Pregunta. Second question, and again, you can freestyle this however you want. Your favorite match of all time?
Well, I'll let you do that one first. Go ahead.
Again, little kid me, Warrior versus Hogan.
Yeah.
There wasn't nothing bigger. There wasn't nothing better. That was the first time.
Okay, hold on. So we're all of the similar age. So you are a Team Warrior or Team Hogan?
Warrior.
Oh,
I was Hogan going in the match.
Well, okay, so let me tell you this.
We're out of here. Fuck this.
Let me rephrase. I didn't want either one of them to lose.
Right.
When I was a kid, I was like, I don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to be.
We thought the world might explode.
Yes,
you really were like, what's going to happen?
Exactly.
It was so weird. I remember I didn't see it because it was pay-per-view and my parents didn't get it or whatever. I think it was 6th grade maybe.
Yeah.
And I remember going into school next day looking for where's those rich kids at who bought the damn pay-per-view? I got to find out what happened. And they told me Warrior and I was like, fucking
It was bittersweet. No matter, and if it would have been reversed in time, if Hogan would have won, it would have been the same thing. I would have still been a Hogan fan after that. But at the same time, it just it was like, man, he lost though. The hero lost.
I felt my heart hurt.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was hard.
Me, SummerSlam '89, Demolition versus Hart Foundation.
Oh yeah,
that was a great feud as well.
A great feud and a great match because you had two good styles. You had intensity and just bruteness, but you had Bret who could wrestle. And you had Knightheart who was just power.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He gave that credibility to where if they're going to run through us, well, at least they're going to have to run through a little bit harder because Neidhart's not going to just lay down.
Exactly.
Not to say Bret Hart would.
Yeah, totally.
But Neidhart would be the muscle that can go up against someone.
As a side story, Neidhart was one that I think as a kid I never noticed it, but looking back, I was a big Neidhart mark. I would do the fake laugh at the thing, and I would do his poses and stuff without ever even thinking about Neidhart's one of my favorites.
Right.
Yeah.
I just remember the first time seeing him going, how's the guy from ZZ Top a wrestler?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it was great.
Then I was like, well, wait a minute. Is he related? Because his name's Neidhart. And I was like, they're the Hearts. You're really trying to walk it through.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So this one here, the third one, and you may have already answered this since we discussed earlier kind of how you were breaking into this, but we normally ask who's your biggest influence in this business?
Ooh.
Influence as far as what?
Well, we get that answered two ways. We never clarified it, and some people will say who personally impacted them and helped them, and then some people will say what style. And so we've just started leaving it up to however you want to answer.
Okay. Yeah. For me, I'm going to say just all around wrestling, Dusty Rhodes, man.
Nice.
Dusty Rhodes. To me today, nobody will ever beat his Hard Times promo. Nobody.
It's so good.
You know what I mean? Not only that, he could take anything and make it spin into gold.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think I watched that promo probably 10 times on repeat after he
it's
died.
Something like, in my personal life where, like, if things are getting rough, you know what I mean? I'll turn that on. I'm like, dude, I get, working class, we got to work for what you have for a living. You know what I mean? We all, we don't come from money. You know what I mean? Then we're putting our money into this to make our dreams happen, which that's a good lesson for anybody. Work hard, save up, go for it. You know what I mean? You live once. If you lose, you lose, but at least you tried.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I think
Dusty Rhodes, man. Dusty Rhodes is classic. I mean, 50 years of wrestling, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But so influential, even like behind the scenes. Everybody is so
writer, producer, territory owner, wrestler, everything.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's a tough one.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
That's
Good.
a tough one.
All right.
So
I feel like a journalist now.
when I was a kid, I used to love WWF. That was my thing. But there was one element that drew me back to WCW every single time, and I couldn't. Sting.
Oh yeah,
Sting. And then you got the Attitude Era, and he did the whole crow stick.
Yeah.
Man, that was so good.
He had a mystique that I think was ahead of its time.
Yes.
For that, and then just even before that, before the crow thing, his
the
charisma.
Surfer Sting.
Yeah, the Surfer Sting was amazing.
Yeah, his charisma's
I'm a
undoubtable.
Surfer Sting fan. Me and him talk about that.
Yeah.
Like,
I love Surfer Sting too.
Once he went to Crow, I couldn't be a part of him.
I still liked it.
You know what I
couldn't do
quietly liked too was when he did an Impact Wrestling when he did Joker Sting. I love that. I wish they would have
I hated
dug
it.
deeper into that. I love
I
that.
hated it.
What I like about Sting right now, and this is maybe breaking kayfabe for a second, but if you watched AEW last week or maybe the week before, but where he is Sting, right?
Yeah.
We all know Sting. You can tell your parents about Sting. They might think it's a musician, but then you tell them about the guy with the face paint. They're going to know about that. And so that statue of a person who's going to say, hey, Orange Cassidy, you do the slow kick stuff. I'm going to come to you and do like your thing because I want to show that like I can evolve with the times. I'm not just stuck saying, you know what I do? I do, 3 kicks and a body slam and I'm out of here. Like
big boot and a leg drop, brother, right here.
But like I like that he has the humility to go to TNA and say, like, you know what? I'm gonna do main event Mafia. Like Sting, Surfer Sting, if you go back to 89, right? Or 90, and you say, like, this guy's gonna be in a gang. You're like, what? And it's like, well, no, because as time progresses, he's going to attempt to try to stay with it. So I like that part about him too.
I agree with that.
There's one overall reason why I picked Sting too. I'm the type of person that I get really set in my ways, and I'm Simon's even said before, like I'm the most stubborn dude he's ever met. You know what I mean? Like I will walk through hell for my convictions. Yeah, Sting went that entire time. Yeah, and didn't come over to the big leagues. Yeah, he stuck to his guns. He was stubborn, and I respect the shit out of him.
Yeah, he definitely had a principle that he wanted to stick to, and he stuck with it. So that is
well, he had the principle of who he was, right? Like he understood. Okay, well, I'm seeing this talent and that talent, and all of a sudden now they're fighting a WrestleMania match over a hair, shampoo commercial or whatever it is. Remember Edge and Booker T? Yeah. So it's like, he stood to what his character was and what he thought of himself. As far as like, you're not going to devalue what. Well,
I still think it was a shame that at that WrestleMania, him versus Triple H, Sting should have won. They should have given that win to Sting.
I agree with that too.
You know what I mean?
I feel like we fell into this alternate reality to where like the wrestling timeline went off the rails and like we didn't get the right. It should have been Sting and Undertaker. It should have been all these little things. Just
all of the what ifs.
Yep,
maybe that could be a future Cinco Berguntas. Is what's your biggest what if?
Biggest what if.
Yeah, but
I like that one.
We'll get back into the questions here. So we're all wrestling fans here, so we probably don't know all the wrestling terms, but babyface, heel, all of that. What is your favorite pro wrestling term?
Oh, good.
Yeah, that one throws some people.
We've heard them all.
Yeah, we've heard people say rat, gimmick,
skin the cat. Big E, right? We interviewed Big E and his favorite pro wrestling term.
Schnavitz was one was thrown at us.
I'm just gonna have to say finisher, man, because that wraps it up. You know what I mean? When you hit your finisher, like not only is the pop gonna happen, but like if they kick out of it, then you have another opportunity to do it. You know what I mean? So
that
is my favorite.
That is unique, and I don't think we've heard that. And it's interesting because it is such a common word used in pro wrestling. Like people say that, what's the finisher of this guy? Like, he hit his finisher. Like he had 4 finishers, right?
Yeah.
And
that's it's something so specific to where we obviously know what that means when you say it, and it's something you can describe to a casual fan or just someone who doesn't know pro wrestling. But they'll get it, but they don't know that first off, right?
Exactly.
Like, oh man, the AA, that's his finisher. Like, what? Like, okay, so this is what.
But it's an easy term to grasp for the outsider too. That's a good one. All right.
I like Heat.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I like Heat.
Heat's a good one, and it's one I use in regular life. If I say anybody got booed or anybody caught flack for it or whatever they say, I throw in. I'm like, man, they were getting so much heat for that.
Yeah, right.
And you can start to pick out like who's the wrestling fan when you throw that one.
Oh
out.
yeah.
In like emails, and if you sit next before COVID, when we were all in the office, working the 9-to-5 jobs, and some email came out, and it was like per my last email, I'm like, oh man, you got some heat on that one.
Right.
They wouldn't know what that meant, but then I explained, like, yeah, I did.
But it's also, I think it's one where it has an intuitive, meaning enough that people can get it if you're using it in conversation, right? That aren't maybe wrestling fans. But I love Heat a lot.
Yeah, Heat's a good one.
That's a fun word.
Yeah. So this one is the fifth question is not even a question. So we're lying a little bit, but this is the curveball. It's a bit of a hypothetical situation, and feel free to take a little time if you need. But this one's like we're going to pretend that we're sitting here in the booking meeting, right?
Okay.
And this is fun because you guys actually are owning a pro wrestling federation.
Yeah.
So,
the goods, kids.
but we're booking you two to the top, right? Whatever your top is, right? Whether it's Mania, whether it's DWF All Out, right? You guys against Tom here. Give us the story.
Now we can do this two ways. You can either do it.
So like we're actually wrestling you.
Whatever it be.
We can do it a couple different ways.
Okay.
Again, freestyle, however you want. You can say it's you're a tag team and I'm a manager, or you can say it's me and you, and then me and
Or
you.
it's your wrestling federation and he's an asshole. Whatever your creative mind takes.
fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So there you go.
Well, for me, I'm going to have to go with, if we're doing that, me and Trinity are going to be a tag team, and you're going to be our Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Okay.
Okay? You know what I mean?
Brain?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, but you're
I thought we
Mr.
were supposed to
Fuji.
fight you, though.
Yeah. No, the guy could be the. Yeah.
Well, we can get there.
Oh.
Sounds like he's going to get there.
Okay.
You know, so, some sort of just, maybe like, you used to manage him and he screwed you over. You know what I mean? So, like, you're now our manager and we're coming out to get revenge for you on this guy. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, I like that.
All
right. So then the big question comes: if he's now managing you and you're coming after me because he's screwed, he's coming to try to get after me.
I like that.
And I'm going to do a 1-on-2 against you guys, right? Who's going over here?
we're going on. Only because really, I mean, here's the thing. I was a bouncer for years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've seen real fights. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 2-on-1 ain't easy.
Unless you're like Bruce Lee, you know, or just some badass, you know what I mean? Like, that shit's, that stuff's for the movies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I love this because normally Tom gets the shit kicked out of him and I'm over here laughing. So this is good for him to finally get one over.
Tom, you're being the weasel now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So therefore, you're Bobby the Brain.
You're
stirring it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm taking the heat this time.
Good.
Yeah.
You know, if it's definitely a triple threat kind of, not a triple threat, but what's
Handicap
match. Thank you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, not most people are really gonna get away with fighting two guys and win.
Oh, of course not.
what I mean?
Especially me.
So,
Yeah.
I'm going to struggle with one.
Him.
I'm going to struggle with one.
Yeah.
So you know, we give you the doomsday device and man, it's over.
Yeah. God, it's a great move.
I like it.
All right. So then where can everybody find more about this DWF, right?
mentioned the Facebook page.
Right now, we're still lacking on content because it's still our first show's coming
we're
up.
trying to slowly tease things.
So-
DWFwrestling.com. That's your base. You go there, and then you're going to get all our social media outlets and things like that.
Perfect.
We're most active on Facebook.
Right now we're still working on our social, with
We're gonna get
Instagrams
some more
and
out there.
TikToks and all
slow.
that.
That's a slow roll, man. We've been doing that
Oh,
for
well,
years.
with Instagram,
Well, especially for old guys like us, I'm not computer savvy at all.
Right.
They're like, oh, why don't you scan this and give me a PDF? I'm like, I can fax it to you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
I'm not computer.
You're like, listen, I'll call a courier and I'll get this over to you later.
I get a honing pigeon. I'll write it out for you.
Give me a pen. I just want to write things down. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
So I mean, there's definitely by our second, after our first show, we're gonna have snippets of matches. My nephew does amazing photography. He's coming out to do photos of the of the wrestling and all that stuff. So by the end of September, we'll have a lot more content.
Yeah.
So right now, it's just pretty much the promos of people that are coming into the tournament.
Oh, no, of course. And that's why we wanted to jump on this and get in early because, we know there's a lot more exciting stuff to come out. So we're hoping to, see more. I'm excited to go to that. Again, it's September 25th, Camelot Ballroom, Overland Park, Kansas. If you're in the Kansas City Metro or even anywhere nearby, or if you're rich enough, take a flight. get down here and see this thing.
To get the actual tickets? So if you want to buy the tickets, where are we going for that?
Our Facebook page has our link to our website, which you can just buy them.
Just go right there, DWFwrestling.com. Perfect.
Awesome. Cool.
All right. Well, I mean, if you guys got any last words or not, then we might end it here. But I'm excited to see this thing, and I have a feeling Roscoe Leach is going to get involved somehow and just do something to light this tournament up. Oh yeah.
If you wouldn't mind grabbing us a beer.
Oh, let's do that.
But
that's right.
when you go back there, there's a little folding curtain.
Okay.
Pull that back, and then there's going to be 2 boxes wrapped in gift wrap, and then bring those back out for me, if you would please.
Yes.
All right.
I'm glad you remember that.
Gosh.
I'm glad you did.
So, all right. So, Kansas City Wrestling, I'm excited about kind of this resurgence, right? I mean, there's other promotions doing shows finally again. You guys are starting up. It's been something that's been missing. Obviously, the pandemic. I mean, how did you guys personally get through some of that? I mean, was it pulling up old network, watching old wrestling stuff? Because you guys went through a lot of live shows.
Yeah, when we were shut down for those 2.5, 3 months almost, my wife got annoyed. She's like, "Stop watching wrestling," Because I mean, it was just my kids were home.
Yeah.
So I mean,
This first because I got baby hands.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, me and my daughter, we just started watching. We tried to get through every WrestleMania. You know what I mean? I think we got through like 7 or 8 till finally it was just one of those well.
Where am I going again?
Oh, so all the way back there to the left, there's going to be like a divider, like a accordion looking thing. Just move that, and then it'll be on the floor. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so I think we got through 8 or 9 of them before it just, was like, all right, maybe a couple Royal Rumbles and whatnot. So.
Yeah.
I love watching on the network. I liked actually watching more of the historical stuff. You know what I mean? The territories, the old wrestling. You know what I mean?
You know what I like about the network a lot is some of those documentaries. If you go watch those 24s and some of those old kind of the Untolds, some of those can get really. But yeah, there still isn't, and this is kind of what you guys are getting into. There isn't that same feeling of I remember going to my first, as we probably mentioned, Metro Pro show, and just feeling that intensity of the man.
Where are we putting these?
All right. So who is older?
Oh gosh, that's me.
Yeah, then you get to pick which
These guys got
you
gifts.
want. These are gifts. Nothing major, just something that we threw together for you. Just pick.
We definitely did not deserve this.
You pick which box you go for.
One here.
Right.
Okay, then
I'll let. I can't have both. I got to give him one of these.
Yeah.
Look at this, man.
I mean,
there's scattered stuff in both. There's scattered stuff in both.
He's the brain, man. Come on, we got to
He is the brain. Is a big punching, glove going to come at us and punch me in the face? Is that what This is a better gift than them tattooing you on the neck for this interview. I'll tell you what.
He's throwing stuff on the floor.
Man. Oh, look at that. I feel special.
This is great.
My kids
flip yours over. Flip yours over. Right side up. Yep, there you go.
Boom. Oh, man.
All right, let's do it.
Oh, snap. Whoa.
Look at this.
We got look at that.
Shameless plug.
Oh, man.
We got some stickers.
This is going to the studio.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, snap. Look at this.
So that is Niles Planquet's autograph. I decided to add a little class and sophistication.
Snap.
Oh, WCW magazine.
If you want to hear it, what I'm doing, this is amazing, guys. First of all, as I keep going through this stuff, a fun story about Niles Planquet is with the NWL's
figures.
I don't know, are they?
The NWL starting, and we're like, let's do a bit with Niles Planquet. I'm gonna go get some shitty wines. I'm gonna go get Aldi wine. Box wine. What the hell? Look at that.
Hasbro's, homie. Hasbro.
Oh my God! Look at this.
I got you go with your story, and I got a story about this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Those are the ones I grew up on.
So we're like, we get Niles Planquet's got Belvedere. You know, we're like, we're gonna set up a fun little segment. We'll record a video. We're gonna do a wine tasting with Niles Planquet, and I got a box wine, a $2 Aldi's wine, and some real bad shit. And he's going along with it. We're setting it up. We're getting ready to do this recording up in the upper balcony of the what's that place called? The Temple?
Scottish Rite Temple.
Scottish Rite Temple there at NWL. And we're going through the whole kind of, script or whatever, what we're going to do back and forth of the format of this wine tasting. And I knock over one of these bottles, and it breaks and starts spilling wine all over the bleachers of this place. 3 or 4 rows all over the place. like they're like, listen, we're gonna get out of here. We got a show to do. You guys fucking have fun cleaning this up. And then went back down to
Jim.
oh my god,
This
dude.
was the first wrestler I ever met.
Really?
Lewis. Dude, he was so nice.
I hear
He was
ya.
Great.
Oh my god, I used to have these all the time when I was like, look at these guys, man.
All right, so this action figure here specifically.
Okay.
You guys are the
This
fucking
is
coolest, man.
really special to me, and I'm glad that I got this box with this in it.
Nice.
So, Hulk Hogan turns at Bash at the Beach.
Yep.
In WCW, turns to NWO. I get so emotional. Obviously, you listen to the podcast. You listen to the podcast. I get emotional today. But I got so emotional that I ripped the head off of this.
Oh my god.
I mean, I had it in mint condition. Yes, Rowdy Piper.
Yes, I think
And-
this might be the one I owned. I think you
and
guys haven't.
I had some other Hogan gear. Like I had a couple T-shirts. I had a hat. I threw it in. Like I made a little bonfire in the back. I threw it all in there. I was like, I hate this guy. He's the worst. I mean, I'm not kidding you. If you were to like eBay it today, that's probably like I probably had like $3,000 worth of stuff. Like value
right.
now.
Yeah.
Back then it was $100 or
This is
something.
so much of my childhood.
But this is awesome. Right
Oh
here,
my
look
God.
at this.
Did you see the autograph you got there?
Yeah, I got Greg the Hammer Valentine.
Dude,
So
this is
those, remember muscle wrestlers?
yes.
The muscle wrestler company still makes muscle wrestlers, except they make like WWE, Masters of the Universe, and all that stuff, and then you got the original muscle in there too.
God damn, man. So
is
much
so
of this is
awesome.
like
Yeah.
bringing back flooding of childhood. Oh,
And you've all, and I made sure that we made sure that you all have different stuff in there. So if you want to trade,
I have that.
You
I have that. Yeah, I still have that.
You guys have officially become the coolest guests we've ever had, man.
I know, man. You guys want to be friends? We hang out.
Look at that. Look at that.
I'm gonna say this. All this right here, man.
Oh,
this is
shit.
all Trinity. Trinity
shit.
scours garage sales and flea markets,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he's been collecting this stuff. I mean, like
Fucking
this.
amazing.
This,
so much, it never
this credit
stops.
goes all to this guy right here.
Dude,
this was his
you're the
idea.
coolest,
He
man.
did
I
this.
appreciate this.
He showed up. He's like, "I've got gifts for him." I'm like, "Dude, that's crazy, but awesome."
That is
You guys
super cool,
are-
man. You have to.
No, I'm taking no credit for this. This is all
And
Trinity.
you are the coolest.
Trinity is the
Fuck
coolest.
that
Yeah, I suck. Fucking,
Oh, you got the one. You got that one.
Look at this.
God damn, this is fucking amazing.
A little bonfire. So I'm gonna beer in this and you drink it out of that.
Brutus the Barber's another one that like I secretly loved as a kid and never thought about till later. I was fucking to this day if I get a pair of garden shears, I do the fucking
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I do it. I still do it at home, like Walmart when I walk by them. I'll grab it
just
like
to do it. Just to
Even
do
their
it.
entrance music back then, like it's got that little.
Oh, Tracy Smothers. And Sid Vicious.
Snap! I got free birds. God damn, man!
Got
Oh,
10
and
WWF
this is,
and 10 WCW.
God, they have a bunch
they're
in them.
Oh, I thought it was
my
a
God.
back-to-back.
This
Okay.
never ends. It's like a Russian nesting doll of coolness every time we get this stuff out. Look at all this, man.
Ricky Morton, speaking of legends who are
Yeah.
still going today.
Oh yeah, he's
He has
still
a
wrestling
GC
too.
yeah,
isn't
He did a GCW
He
match.
did a GCW match
They
in
went
a
out.
barn.
They went to Laramie,
so
Wyoming,
cool.
Oh my
and did a
God.
match. They did like a whole wrestling show in a barn, and this thing had like farm animals in it, and you could like hear it. And one guy tried to come in on a horse, and the horse got spooked because I mean there was probably a couple thousand people in this barn.
Yeah.
And it got spooked and rode off. And so then the crowd for the rest of the night is chanting, "Fuck that horse! Fuck that horse!" Insane. Insane.
Underrated tag team.
Oh,
Doom.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Look, I got Jack
Legion
Tunney,
of Doom.
No, Doom with
the greatest
Ron,
president America's
No,
ever
dude.
had.
Yeah.
Ron Simmons
Right
and Butch Reed.
Yep.
Butch
That was
Reed.
old school WCW.
Yep. That was old WCW.
Yep.
I'm gonna have to say there were quite a few years. I didn't really watch wrestling because I was playing
Oh, yeah.
in punk rock bands and
yeah.
stuff like that. So I never hated WCW. I was just always loyal to WWE. Was my brand.
So
Yeah, I
Butch
was-
Reed
I always
went to school at Central Missouri. I graduated from Central Missouri. He's the first ever guy eliminated from a Royal Rumble, the very first Royal Rumble.
Yep.
Okay.
And this tag team, if you want to see matches today that hold up, go watch the Steiner Brothers versus Doom.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh,
okay.
my good God.
Dude,
Well, in
yes.
WCW back in the day, always had those characters. They had Sting, they had Vader, they had Doom, they had Steiner Brothers, all that good
Speaking
stuff.
of
Oh,
Steiners,
yeah.
that's his favorite tag team. of all
That's my
time.
favorite tag team of all time.
Oh, I love the Steiner
their-
Brothers.
Oh, here's Ric Flair chopping the shit out of Sting. Look at
Look at that.
Get him. They got. Look at that. That's
the
a great
Great
picture.
American Bash one. I think Sting won by decision.
Yeah, I
for his
think you're right.
title.
I think you're right. Elegante. That guy. God damn, this is great. Arn Anderson's another one that I love.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All the Four Horsemen, the Brain Busters.
So he's got the other thumb wrestler. If you guys want
That's right. We're going to have to thumb wrestle sometime on the show.
This is so
Fucking
great.
Arn Anderson is one where, like, if I'm doing the Four Horsemen,
Yeah.
I'm picturing Arn Anderson
Yep.
holding up the four.
He is the Four Horsemen.
Yeah.
As great as Ric Flair was, Ric Flair was the best talent of all of the Horsemen. But this is how I equate Macho Man. Is where you might say back in the day, Hulk Hogan was better, Ric Flair was better, but anyone who impersonates a pro wrestler is doing a Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Or excuse me, is doing a Macho Man.
Yep.
Anyone who impersonates a Four Horsemen is doing Arn Anderson.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
God damn, look at that.
Randy
This is
Orton.
fucking insane, man.
This is incredible.
Those are legit autographs too.
Oh, look at this.
crazy, man.
Jimmy Hart. I love Jimmy Hart. He's the best. Isn't
Jimmy
he,
Hart's
guys?
the man. Oh,
Jimmy
yeah.
Hart.
Is Jimmy Hart the best?
I love Jimmy Hart.
Dude, you guys are fucking amazing.
This is
man.
amazing.
You guys are amazing.
No, thank you for coming down. Like
Yeah, thank you for having
I said,
fun.
man, this was all these gifts were Trinity. Seriously, man.
Well, let's.
I bought beer.
Hey, beer's good.
Yeah, I know.
beer's
I'm saying,
great.
We have, yeah.
All right, so September 25th, right? No,
Yep.
24th. 25th. It's
Yep.
Saturday.
Saturday,
Camelot
September 25th.
Ballroom, DWF, All Out War,
Mm-hmm.
8-man tournament to determine their first ever heavyweight champion.
Yep.
That's what we're calling it. Heavyweight champion. Guys have to go DWFwrestling.com.
Yep.
Get your tickets, fly in, buy some MJF coin, and come in if you're not from Kansas City. And this is going to be awesome. And we'll definitely get some more updates. As
The only thing, the one last thing I do want to say is that we are putting on another No Mercy tournament at the Up Down.
Oh, yeah.
yes.
It will be, I think it's going to be September 8th, which is a Wednesday.
Yeah.
So if anybody thinks they can
Well, we're
beat
not
the champ,
exactly
we
sure on the
think
date
it's
yet.
going to be 8, but I mean,
Yeah,
it'll be
tentative.
posted.
Yeah.
Check the Facebook for
But
details.
anybody thinks they can take on the champ, and believe me, he took $100 from me the first time we played because No Mercy was the only game I was ever good at.
Yeah.
Even my little brothers couldn't beat me, and they beat me in everything. And I'm like, dude,
It was like fighting a little kid.
he beat the crap out of me. I was like, dude, I was so sure. I'm like, dude, I'll put $100 on it.
All right.
And he beat me like in a minute.
It's a challenge to the gamers out there.
So
Speaking
this
of
guy,
$100,
there is.
a $100 cash prize at the No Mercy tournament at Up Down.
Yep.
So come get my money if you can.
Tom's going to
Yes.
practice. Tom's going home right now to practice.
Dude, you're
Actually,
gonna
we
need
would
it.
love it if you guys would.
Yeah,
finish it up.
absolutely. Yes, of
Kind of go
course.
full circle with the
Of
whole
course.
first tournament I won.
Absolutely, yes.
Oh, man, that'd be
Yeah, the
great.
folks at Up Down have always been super cool to us.
Yep.
We would love to go out there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
David Hayden.
Oh,
great
David
guy.
Hayden, big
Yeah.
shout out.
Dave,
Absolutely.
you've been great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Another
Yeah,
great
but-
resource for Kansas
I'm just saying, Kansas City, you guys better lace up your boots and do some practicing because this guy's undefeatable.
I don't think that's a word.
Undefeatable?
Keep using that word. I don't
what
think
I
it
mean.
means. What do you think it means?
Undefeatable.
Undefeatable. I think it sounds
Yeah,
right.
well, it is now. Undefeated.
Unbeatable. Okay, there we go.
Undefeatable.
He's 7-time champ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Hey, if you can't be beaten, you get to make up whatever word you want. Who's going
Thank
to
you.
stop you? So
hey, I'm a
go
two-time
with that.
champ. I've beat him twice.
I like that.
I've been beaten
Like that.
before, but I always come back and
Yeah,
get
he
my
does.
belt back.
Yeah, exactly right.
So,
This is amazing. I'm excited for the DWF, and I'm out of words at this
I'm
point.
excited. Yeah. I'm excited for this tournament.
Cheers.
I'm excited for all
Cheers,
the
gents.
future things.
Gentlemen.
Yes, here we go. I got baby hands there.
Well, Jack, if you want me to show up and experience the show and feel like you did,
Yep.
you just opened all this stuff up.
yeah.
All right. September 25th, Camelot Ballroom, Overland Park, Kansas DWF. Check it out.
The Spanish announce table.